Hello, my name is Heather Fauland. I am the Graduate Programs Academic Associate in the Teachers College at ASU, and this is my analytics proposal for HED598. It concerns measuring efficacy and engagement in online graduate students. So to describe my context a little bit, ASU is considered a national leader in online education. Its undergraduate and graduate programs combined are ranked 11th overall. And the ASU Charter explicitly outlines a dramatic increase in our online student offerings, specifically the goal to enroll 100,000 online or distance education degree-seeking students by 2020. To give you a sense of where we are in reaching that goal, in the spring of 2015, there were about 15,000 online students at ASU. So I work in the Division of Educational Leadership and Innovation, or ELI. We oversee more than 22 graduate certificate, master's, and doctoral programs, 8 of which are offered fully online. And we have had rapidly increasing student enrollments in our programs. For example, in the spring of 2016, out of approximately 2,300 total students, over 1,800 of those were online. So who takes graduate education courses online? Well, this is actually a bit of a difficult question to answer. The ASU does not publish regular demographic breakdowns of its online programs in the way that it does for its face-to-face programs. So the types of information that you typically expect to find in a census report, for example, breakdowns by gender, race, ethnicity, or even proportionally by college, are difficult to find for online programs. ASU also employs which, to be fair, is an industry-wide standard, a very business-oriented and consumer-driven approach to evaluating online courses. This means that much of the evaluation data for online courses talks about student satisfaction with their experience rather than more explicit academic outcomes. So to summarize, ASU is a leader in online education. Its metrics for evaluating online engagement, however, are regularly collected and overwhelmingly business-oriented. And so the question is, can we use existing analytics to better drive student interventions and decision-making for these programs? So to describe what I mean by self-efficacy and engagement, self-efficacy describes an individual's confidence in their own abilities and is particularly reliable when it's measured within the confines of a specific environment. For example, self-efficacy in an academic environment is often frequency and task-based. How often a student studies, the confidence they have writing or reading academic papers. And there are many, many definitions of engagement, but here we focus on 2. The first describes engagement as a metric of time and physical energy expended by students towards completing academic tasks. And this definition is often used in online programs and often as a proxy for the quality of a learning experience online. However, in the terms of this proposal, we're looking for engagement to encompass a little bit more, and that little bit more is well described by the concept of mutual engagement. That is, that individual experience is shaped through our interactions with peers in a localized environment. In this context, a student's engagement online is shaped through their interactions with their peers and with the program itself. So why are these important? Well, student self-efficacy and engagement are highly correlated to academic achievement. Self-efficacy in particular is a better indicator of academic performance than things we often see as the focus of college retention interventions, like reducing stress among students or smoothing adjustment to college life. Peer engagement is particularly important here. However, I think it's important to note that neither of these constructs are particularly well understood in an online learning environment. And additionally, because so many of the programs in ELI are professionally focused, we have a real opportunity to create a strong, thriving network of professional contacts for our students and for our programs. But this will only happen if students are engaged and driven to do so. So how can analytics help? Well, first, I'm going to draw on some of our readings to describe what I mean by analytics. In particular, I'm drawn to knowledge discovery as described by Daniels, which is an interdisciplinary area focusing on methodologies for identifying and extracting useful and meaningful patterns. And this is very much in line with the process of data mining, which applies statistical analysis and discovery algorithms to produce a particular enumeration of patterns through data. And so even though we discussed that there is not really an all-encompassing definition of big data, I've included a short one here. Big data being data of such size and complexity that it is logistically challenging to manage and manipulate. And it's characterized by high volume, high velocity, high variety, and high value. And I think it's a valid question to ask if the data in this proposal is big data. And I think in its current incarnation, it is not. We're talking less than 2,000 students. However, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, when our student population may be hundreds of thousands, if not more, I think that many of the analytics that we're discussing here that were created in relation to big data can become very useful. So all online courses at ASU are developed within a Blackboard environment. This environment routes communications and notifications through a course homepage. It identifies students across courses and academic years by an 11-digit ASU ID. And this proposal will seek to use some of this Blackboard metadata to measure self-efficacy and engagement among graduate students online. And here are 3 areas where metadata might be applied: frequency, timeliness, and engagement. So this can be something as simple as the number of times a student logs onto a site, or the number of times a piece of academic material or learning material is downloaded, the number of total discussion boards. We can also look at timeliness, that is the frequency of late or missing assignments, and the idea of discussion board clustering, that is if all posts in a discussion occur on the same day right next to each other, or if a discussion is spread through a longer period of time. And we also have some ways to measure engagement through this metadata. We can look at virtual office use, which is a way for students to directly contact their instructor through Blackboard. We can look at the frequency of discussion board posts beyond assignment requirements. So if a student is only required to respond twice, the number of times that they went above and beyond that. And we can also take a more qualitative approach to analyze the quality of posts, be it through a rubric score or through more involved discourse analysis. So the largest cost for this proposal by far is dedicated staff time. And I've set 2 ways that we can pull the data out of Blackboard to analyze it. First, we have something approximating real-time statistics, which we could pull through SQL Server access. And while there is institutional support for building this kind of pull, it will require a very high level of technical competency. And it may also require support staff time to build queries or an isolated infrastructure per FERPA to pull data in an anonymized environment. And it's important to note that data pulled in this manner is not always easily digestible. So a second method would be analysis through batch downloads, where someone with access to the back end of the Blackboard database will pull out data for staff to digest and to clean and to analyze. And we can do this through statistical software, the 3 packages listed. First would be R, which is open source, free, but also very coding intensive. SAS, which is available to ASU faculty and staff through an institutional license and is moderately coding intensive. Or SPSS, which is also available through an institutional license for no charge and is much less coding intensive. Additionally, I think this data would benefit from some type of visualization. And here are 3 ideas at varying levels of cost for how we may accomplish that. First, with SPSS, we can create interactive charts, graphs, tables, the like, GIS specific coding. Excel is a basic but widely available option as well. It's also available through an institutional license. And the third is Tableau, which is by far a more encompassing visualization software, which really links visualization as a way to digest data mining and the data set as a whole. So when we speak in terms of our data set increasing dramatically in size and scope in the next few years, Tableau is a more sustainable option. However, it is not available through ASU, and it is quite expensive. Server license costing $10,000 a year for up to 10 users, with individual desktop licenses costing between $1,000 and $2,000. So to discuss some challenges, there are some technical challenges inherent in this proposal. First, this type of metadata is not always easily pulled from Blackboard. This data is messy. It can include students who drop or withdraw from a course or who fail to complete a course. And because Blackboard is not the final grade repository at ASU, sometimes the data entry is incomplete, which is less of an issue, granted, for online programs, but has come up in the past tracking assignments and assignment grades through Blackboard. So in moving into privacy and ethical considerations, I was struck by this quote from our readings, that privacy is not simply an absence of information about us in the minds of others. Rather, it is the control we have over information about ourselves. And I think this really underlines the ethical responsibility that ASU has as an institution to respect the privacy and anonymity of their students. And while we have federal guidelines like FERPA to help guide our decision making in this arena, data mining and predictive analytics, where we're using information that exists in the ether but has never been directly applied to decision making, it's important that we are transparent in our motives and assumptions. And for this reason, I have avoided the implications of using predictive analytics for analyzing this type of metadata. While I can see a predictive analysis of this coming from the best of possible motivations in regards to students, for example, an advising team using predictive analytics to target students before they begin to fail classes with increased one-on-one support or additional resources, I think that this brings up several organizational and ethical challenges. For that reason, I would recommend only reporting this data in aggregate and as a discussion of program trends. Again, to underline, particularly because we are discussing building thriving networks of student engagement, both when they are in the program and as alumni, it's important that a consideration of student agency be considered here, and it's important for us to be transparent with students throughout this process. So I'd like to end with just a quick snapshot of a potential outcome from this type of analysis. So this is a screenshot of a student hub that was created for students in 2 online programs, 2 of our health-based online programs, and it's designed to be a portal for students to talk to each other about their experiences, to talk with alumni in the program, and then also to interact with professionals, be it from a more pragmatic job search or discussing current research and events. So thank you for listening.